We would like to call the meeting to order. If you're able to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You'll remain standing for a moment of silent prayer. The first item on the agenda is Fire Department Honors Presentation. Chief Densmore.
You guys want to come down? I'll call you. Yes. Good evening, Township officials. Great news today. I have two probationary firefighters that have accomplished their one-year probation within the township. As this always means, they've graduated what I refer to as the Ypsilanti Township University Fire Department. They're well versed in our responding guidelines, what's required for them to do every day. It was a good year so far, right, gentlemen? And they've learned quite a bit, obviously. And we're here in front of you tonight to have them, I'm going to say a little oath for them, and they'll concur with it. And I have Lieutenant Nick here is going to present for Tyler, and then Jason, his dad, is going to present him his badge as well. So if you two gentlemen want to face me, raise your hand.
Right hand?
Yep, right hand, please. It says, and I'll read it, and then I'll slow down, and you just repeat after me, okay? It says, I will never allow my personal feelings.
I will never allow my personal feelings
Nor danger to itself deter me from my responsibilities as a firefighter.
nor danger to myself to deter.
There you go. I will at all times respect the property and rights of all men and women,
I will at all times respect the property and rights of all men and women,
laws of my country and members I serve with.
laws of my country and the members I serve with.
All right, very good. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief, and welcome. The next item is a presentation for Ypsilanti Meals on Wheels and by Barbara Nesme.
Good evening, everyone. It is so great to see.
Is it on?
Oh, there it is. Thank you. Oh, it's been a day. It feels like a Monday and a Tuesday. Anyway, it's so good to see the familiar faces and to present to a group that I know supports what we do deeply. Again, I'm Barbara Nesme, and I've been the CEO and president of Ypsilanti Meals on Wheels since January of 2024. And we've seen a lot of growth and change. A couple of anecdotes is that we had 6 routes when I started, and now we have 8, so we've grown by 30%. We were serving approximately 320 people when I started, and now we're at 520. And I mean, the growth has been rapid. The response to fundraising has been better than I expected, so that we're able to invest in that kind of growth. So I'm going to go ahead with my presentation. I'll just kind of say next slide. Is that a good? All right, great. You probably had a chance to already look at these slides, but I'd like to offer a bit of commentary. We've been in partnership with Ypsilanti Township for 29 years in terms of you all making an important investment in the work that we do. And since 1997, the township has invested $194,000. And I'm just so excited to report that and so proud to report that. And the last statistic is interesting in the context of what I just shared. It's our largest service community. In the past year, we have served 289 individuals with 2 meals a day, a visit, like pantry items, other kinds of support. And that seems almost close to that number of when I started at 320. So we've really rapidly expanded in Ypsilanti Township, and I'll be speaking to that in a little bit. Next slide, please. So we consider ourselves the compassionate hearts with a fiscal mind, because to run a nonprofit like Ypsilanti Meals on Wheels, it does take financial acumen to make sure that we, dot our I's, cross our T's, provide for everything, but also we do it with deep compassion. We serve on the east side of Washtenaw County. Some of you may or may not know that we serve from the southern part of Superior Township, which is like the MacArthur Boulevard area, south to Augusta Township, and then on the east, the county line, and to the west, US 23. So we have a pretty big service area, and when I talk about our growth, they said, did you add a service area? No. I mean, this is all growth right in that service area. And we fundraise 65% of our budget. And I think some people are surprised to hear that, because I think there's an assumption that we're funded by the federal government. The federal government is probably 7% of our total budget. And then the other government dollars are actually county and millage dollars, and then the rest we need to fundraise, and we're about a $2.5 million operation. The cost per client each day is $22, and that includes 2 meals, a friendly visit. Also, we have wraparound supports, such as we do resource advocacy and help them find the resources that they need, work with their families. We also have a pantry where someone can say, I need a toothbrush. I mean, and I've literally when I've been on route, been asked for a toothbrush and toothpaste because they just can't get it. And so we were able to get on the van the next day. This summer, we've delivered 35 fans out into the community during these hot spells. So I think we make our money go a long way in terms of how we're supporting people. So I'd like to talk a little bit about, next slide, why the township needs this service. More than 18% of Ypsilanti Township is aged 60 and older, and that is only growing. There have been several studies done in Washtenaw County, and it's one of the most rapidly aging counties in the state. And I think that was what compelled for the senior millage to be passed in 2024. Because of the mix of suburban and semi-rural stretches, this is a service that's really needed, because, I mean, when you're homebound, but it might feel different if you're living in an apartment building or something like that, which some of them do. But a lot of congregate opportunities are out of reach without a car. Now there is free transportation, and we're trying to get the word out to our folks. Like, if you're able to get out for a half a day and go to a senior center, or a senior programming, we encourage it. But some of them are like, really, it's free? And anyway, and some just can't leave. About 3/4 of the clients in Ypsilanti Township live alone. So it's real that sometimes we're the only person that we see. I'll never forget, I took, about a year ago, I took Deputy County Administrator Andrew DeLue and Board Commissioner Justin Hodge on a route. And we came up to a house, and I asked the normal question of, is there anything that you need? And he said, well, my computer monitor just died, and my doctor said I'm going to have to go to the hospital if I can't get my daily telehealth. And I thought, immediately I thought of, well, we're going to call EMU. We could get him a monitor. I mean, we'll figure this out. And we reached out to EMU. They had one computer left for their senior technology program. The kid went over to his house, set it all up for him, taught him. But who was going to fill that gap? And I think because he trusted us, and he lived in an apartment complex, but he said, I really don't talk to anybody. So, I mean, it's these kinds of things that we try to fill in the gaps when I talk about resource advocacy. Next slide, please. So who we serve in the township, I mentioned that 3/4 live alone. Over 45% are people of color. Not surprisingly, 57% plus are women, often widowed and separated from family support. The median income is slightly higher in Ypsilanti Township than it is rest of the service area at $16,800. Our median income for those we serve is below the federal poverty line. And that's actually unusual for a Meals on Wheels program. What I've learned since I've been there is that most Meals on Wheels programs don't operate as much in what I would call the poverty space as we do. And I had so many wrong assumptions about Meals on Wheels until I started, and I thought, wow, because it's not income-based. It just happens that we're serving the most vulnerable in Washtenaw County, which is probably, these are all things that are no surprise for you. And I know as a township, you all fight for your residents to have what they need. And so when I say these things, I almost feel silly because you probably already know this. 10% of those we serve in the county are over 80, and 100% are choosing to age in place. Now, sometimes that's purely by choice, and I'll be talking about a woman that we serve that is still living in the house that her husband built, and she's 94 when they first got married. And there are some that have literally no other choice on where to go. I mean, that all they have is where they're at. They can't afford anything else. The thought of moving is overwhelming because of intersectional medical issues. So next slide, please. So a really unique program we have is the Safe at Home program, where we have a consultative occupational therapist that goes into homes actually across Washtenaw County. And some millage funding was able to help us boost that program a little bit. And what she does is she helps people sort what keeps them safe in the home and adaptive ways of doing things when they've lost the capacity to do it. I have listed here things like small home repairs, hygiene supports, things like that. We had 28 of these projects, and we also fundraise for funds so that we can pay for these home modifications. And 28, almost 10% of those we serve in Ypsilanti Township receive this service. And just a note, the $200 grab bar. But there was a story that I just heard this morning. I was talking to a driver, and she said she had just heard the story that our occupational therapist was out to visit her because she broke her arm last week, got it set, and she was upset because she was really struggling to do things with her non-dominant one hand. And our occupational therapist went right away over there, and the thing she got most teary-eyed about is that Bridget, our occupational therapist, taught her how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with one hand, because that's her favorite thing. And I know I know you can hardly stand it, but I mean, it's that kind of thing that you're a part of. So the next slide gives you it's hard to do these maps, but you can see how widespread we are in Ypsilanti Township. We're kind of all over the place. And in some of the concentrations, you're probably not surprised by. Next slide. So I want to introduce some of our Ypsilanti Township neighbors that benefit from our work. Some of their stories are, one of them had an incontinence issue, and we were delivering, and about 6 weeks later, they felt comfortable enough to tell their driver that they had been experiencing incontinence, and they really missed going to church. And it was like on a Thursday. The next day, we got some supplies on the van to them, and the next Monday, in tears, was talking about how they were able to go to church and stay for coffee hour and didn't even think about it. And because he just can't afford, it's basically $40 a week to purchase these items. 2 of them are stay-at-home clients and receive meals. And another one of them I mentioned earlier, she's funny. Oh my gosh. So I'm actually going to point her out. She's the one on the far right where she's sitting in the chair. She's 94 and she's still living in a house that her husband built. And we first thought her name was Rebecca. And then about 10 years later, like 5 or 6 years later, because we've been serving her a long time, she said, no, really, it's Gretchen. And I was like, oh, well, how about that? And so then when I went and introduced myself, I said, hi, I'm Barbara. I'm new at Meals on Wheels. She's like, that's my name. And I was like, what is really? And so we had to have the case manager call her family and say, we don't know if this is a sign and she said, actually, yes, her name is Barbara, and I think she was just too embarrassed to really say that was her name, and I was like, oh, great. But anyway, every time there is a military anniversary, she schools the driver on, did you know that today was? And did you know what happened and why that's important? And so we gain from them. There was another woman that I visited with who worked side by side with Rosie the Riveter in the bomber plant. I mean, it's a rich history of who we meet. So next slide, please. And this is something that when we talk to people and do assessments, we learn things about people, and we were able to get her a countertop dishwasher to accommodate her so that she could, because she was having a hard time washing her dishes, and a full dishwasher wasn't, but a countertop one was exactly what she could use from a wheelchair. And she also didn't have a proper couch that she could transfer herself from the wheelchair to the couch. And hot meals she just wasn't able to make anymore. And we were able to provide those things in partnership with others. That's the other thing I want to talk about, is that we collaborate. Like I talked about EMU. A couch probably came from Friends Indeed or House into Home, and the dishwasher was probably one of the little mini grants that we get to help people have what they need. And the reason why we're able to do what we can on the amount that we spend is that we have a tremendous partnership with the University of Michigan Health System, where they provide a hot meal for $5.50 a day and a cold bag with a sandwich, piece of fruit, like milk and nuts or granola bar or something, for $4.50 a day. We just need to go pick it up. It's all prepackaged, nutritionist reviewed, and it's because of Alfreda Rooks's commitment to equity across the county. We're also the largest Meals on Wheels provider in the county, and I just learned the other day we're one of the longest steadily running Meals on Wheels programs in the country, because we've been in our spot for about 52 years. So next slide, please. I feel like I go all over the place. I have slides to keep me on task, but I'm like, oh, what, I gotta tell them this and I gotta tell them that. The township dollars that you give us are very important. And we did a quick calculation of the number that we're serving and how many times a day we're serving them through the year. And we have an economic impact that exceeds $955,000 in Ypsilanti Township. And the investment you make with us goes directly to the township residents. We direct it to that part of our population, and it stays local. I mean, everything is local that we do. So, and like I said, 2 nutritious meals, wellness check, friendly visit, and other supports. Oh, wow, you're ahead of me. That's great. Keep me going. So another thing that we've learned in talking to the families is that they are saying they would be either under or unemployed if we weren't part of the picture. They would be worried about making sure they had meals and that someone was checking on them. They know that they can call us after route and we'll tell them what we saw. They know we will call them if we see something that we're concerned about. And that allows their loved ones to go about their life. Now, I get asked all the time, why don't you deliver on Saturday and Sunday? Well, it's because this is when the families want to come in. They want to be bringing meals over. They have people, a lot of them have people coming to visit them. However, if they don't, we do have meals that we can deliver, healthy meals that are frozen, that they can heat up, and we make sure every one of our clients has a microwave and knows how to use it. And that way, we can make sure we meet their needs. We also give them a supply of 6 days of shelf-stable items, and we do deliver that twice a year because of weather-related emergencies, or they're just hungry or something like that. Every Monday, we distribute fresh food from food gatherers, and we also have a partnership with the Trinity Farm where we give out about 50 produce boxes a week of fresh farm produce. Oh, and we also have a partnership with Whole Foods where they give us sandwiches and maybe small desserts that we deliver, and Starbucks. I think one of my favorite early stories was I was delivering in Ypsilanti Township, and I was delivering to a woman, and it was like middle of cold February, and I came up and Meals on Wheels, and she's like, oh, she opened the door. She said, I'm so glad you're here. I'm hungry. And I was like, wow, that's something to hear. And then she said, wait, I got to show you something. I want more of these. And she brought back the wrapper of like fancy Starbucks croissant, Gouda, Applewood bacon, and I'm like, I don't even buy those. And she said, I want more of these. We said, well, we'll write that down that you prefer that. So, but they bring us joy too. Another Ypsi Township resident, I spend a lot of time in Ypsilanti Township. I went to deliver on Monday. We were short-staffed because of vacation, so I was out delivering on Monday. And she came up to me, she came right out on the porch, and she said, guess what I did this morning? I said, what did you do this morning? I went to the doctor, and he said I was the healthiest 84-year-old he's ever met. I said, that's amazing. And then she went on to tell me that she had 21 grandkids, 35 great-grands, and 5 great-greats. And she said, I got to live a long time to see all those kids grow up. And I said, you do. And then she said, do you love Jesus? And I said, yes, I love Jesus. And she said, I can tell. So, I mean, it's just, I walk away thinking, what can we do for their lives to be better? But then I see this and I think, well, they're doing it pretty well on their own. So I'm going to try and wrap this up. More than a meal, what every visit delivers. Nutrition, connection, wellness check, and we call it case management, resource navigation. And then you can see the returns on, next slide, thanks. On your investment, and it's health, safety, and independence in short. So the cost of not investing in what we do, and this is what I tell everybody. The next slide, please. You can see that a year of service, 5 days a week for 52 weeks, costs approximately $57.20. But then you can see how much it costs to live in a nursing facility for a month. A fall-related hospitalization, which we try to avoid. But then a safe-at-home grab bar installed is $200. So, and your investment prevents costs from falling on residents, the systems, et cetera. So as I start closing out my presentation, we see our services as not optional. We don't duplicate. We're the only service on the side of 23 providing this service, and I would hazard to say that we're probably doing it the most economically in the county. No alternatives exist. Home delivered meals can't be replicated by other programs, and we have a daily presence and a trust with those we serve that no other organization has. We intimately know over 500 people on the east side plus, because as we have known others who who are no longer part of our services, we know their families and they know us. I mean, I remember taking Jason Maciejewski on a route here in Ypsilanti Township. And when we were driving, it was like one of the first pretty spring days, and we were driving down the road, and everybody was waving at the van. It was almost like on cue. And I said, but it's because they trust us. They know we're treating their neighbors with care and respect and giving them what they need. So our request from you all, today I just wanted to further introduce you to the work that we do to sustain the investment that you have been making in our work. We want you to refer residents to Safe at Home, but we've worked closely with, where'd Lori go? Oh, there she is. We work closely with Lori, and she's done some training with our staff on the hoarding task force, and we refer back and forth, and so I know she is referring people. We also ask if it's ever a possibility to be an ambassador for Ypsilanti Meals on Wheels. We're trying to increase visibility, or if you're part of a civic group, happy to do a presentation and talk about what we do. And I invite you to go on a ride along with me. It would be short, about an hour and a half midday, and I will send an email tomorrow morning to all of you with information about that if you're interested. So next slide, please. And that concludes my presentation.
All right.
Happy
Are
to
there
take
any
any
questions or comments? I just have one.
Yeah.
Did the senior millage help Meals on Wheels? Have you?
A little bit. We did get they are doing a senior nutrition allocation of $5 a meal for those who are over 60. We do have those that we serve under 60. We probably have about 100 clients that are under 60, but it's because they have disabilities that, and we're wanting to be helpful. So we're hoping with this RFP process that we're going to be able to garner more support for what we do. And the intention is to grow. It's not to supplant what we're already fundraising. We just want to grow.
Mm-hmm. So do you know how much, or?
No, we have to apply through the RFI process, and then the request for proposal process is a two-stage process. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I know what I'm asking for, but I mean, I don't know what we'll be getting. But for the meals, just the meals alone, we get $5 per meal from the millage.
So what is that annually? I'm sorry.
Annually, I mean, we'd probably, now you're going to ask me to do math, but we do about 120,000 meals over 60, I think, is about it. So it's in the neighborhood of about $600,000, and it costs us 1.8 to do our home delivered meal program for all of the communities that we serve.
Okay. Thank you for the wonderful and.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and I appreciate you, and then I'll be in touch to invite you to do a ride along.
Yes.
Great,
thank you
so much.
We appreciate Meals on Wheels. The next, number 5 is to approve the agenda, and we are requesting that we add a resolution 2026-16, which is opposing the ballot proposal.
I would move that we approve the agenda with the addition of the resolution 2026-16.
Motion Rowe.
Support.
Support Thornton. Thank you. We have the consent agenda, minutes of June 16th, and, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 6, the consent agenda, minutes of June 16th, regular meeting, statements and checks, and the treasurer's report included with the August. So it's
So
that
move, Peterson.
Support.
motion Peterson, support Eldridge. Questions or comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 7 is the attorney's report. Mr. Winters?
Madam Chair, after listening to the presentation by the Meals on Wheels, I am even more trying to choose my words carefully, only because even before their presentation was made, I have a number of comments that will going to go directly to the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners, as well as our elected officials at the state and federal level. And again, I'm trying to be very calm as I choose those words. But each time when I think I reach that state of being somewhat calm, I see this picture. Okay? We've all seen the picture of the governor of this state standing in line with 12 or 13 of the world's, not the wealthiest millionaires, but billionaires. So the question then comes up, well, okay, we've seen that picture, so how does that relate back to you trying to be reserved and calm in your comments as it pertains to the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners? And it's for this reason. At the beginning of this data center lawsuit in Saline Township, the spin was it happened because the township had exclusionary zoning. And therefore, by not having their proper zoning in place, they were forced to enter into a consent judgment. That's what everybody talked about. And so once that consent judgment was entered, there was a frenetic rush by Oracle to the PSC Commission, appointed by the governor, in which they were seeking these expedited approvals for the installation of electricity. And they also made a promise, if you can call it that says if we get this approved expeditiously and get Oracle online for the next 2 years, we won't seek another rate increase, even though the PSC had already approved over $500 million in rate increases for DTE in the last couple of years. But getting back to the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners, keep in mind, this started out as quote unquote a zoning case, exclusionary zoning. Okay, that involves their township zoning ordinances, like we have our own zoning ordinance. But something peculiar happened along the way to the courthouse where this consent judgment was approved. And if you go through the pages of that consent judgment, you will see that at that time, the township had agreed that they would give Oracle a $4 billion tax abatement pursuant to what we call Act 198. In the past, those were always pretty much approved in order to keep the auto manufacturers in this state and to also encourage them to invest dollars into their plants to maintain employment at the automotive facilities. But in this consent decree, it said that the Saline Township Board of Trustees had agreed in advance of a public hearing, in advance of any hearing, that they were going to grant a $4 billion tax exemption. And then as it went on, when they actually submitted the paperwork to Saline Township, that number went from $4 billion to $44 billion. I mean, I can't even really comprehend that number. $4 billion to $44 billion. Now, you know Oracle, we've seen the pictures, they have the wealthiest CEO in the world. They have an army of CPAs, attorneys, any number of professional services that are needed. So how do you go from $4 billion, which in and of itself is probably the largest tax abatement request I can recall in my lifetime here in Washtenaw County, to $44 billion? And so, Doug, you say, somebody may say, why do you care? This was Saline Township, not Ypsilanti. This is why it matters. In order to get this tax abatement, Saline Township was required to send out a notice to every taxing unit that levies taxes that would be affected by this $44 billion tax abatement. And of course, one of the taxing units is the Washtenaw County. Washtenaw County levies approximately 5.74 mills for their general operating. So I heard at the special informational meeting we held, I heard Commissioner Somerville say, I oppose them getting a 6% sales and use tax exemption, and I'm sure you did. Commissioner Hodge said nothing. But at the same time, nobody spoke on why the county did not object or go on record and oppose a consent judgment that was going to impact the Washtenaw County taxpayers, including Ypsilanti Township taxpayers, to the extent that it will with this $44 billion tax abatement. And to give an example, and I heard, Barbara Nice do a presentation about the wonderful work they do in the county. We constantly are seeing millages being proposed by the county for needs that they think they have to put on the backs of taxpayers. There's a request now, I think, to increase the surcharge on the 911 calls. So what exactly does that mean in dollars and cents by Washtenaw County laying down and doing nothing to oppose this tax abatement, which again had absolutely nothing to do with the zoning case? So because of that $44 billion, it will impact the county to a tune anywhere from $750 million to $1 billion in lost tax revenue over 12 years. That's just going on the 5.74 mills and going on the current SCV. That is some serious dollars that could have been set aside. They talk about we need for more housing, more affordable housing, and we do. We need more senior nutrition programs. We need more senior assistance. We do. We need any type of operating and maintenance funds to hopefully manage the new recreation facility if it ever comes online, because the O&M costs are going to be staggering in the years ahead. These dollars that you're giving up as a county just because it's Oracle absolutely makes no sense. And the county represents all of us. And to simply not even go to a meeting to tell Saline Township, to tell Oracle, we as Washtenaw County, as a taxing unit, we object to this tax abatement. It's got nothing to do with the zoning. If you feel like the zoning was illegal or invalid, and therefore you're entitled to go ahead and build this 1.1 gigawatt data center that has enough power to power over 500,000 to 1 million homes, if that's because your zoning is not in place, then so be it. But you don't have a right to just give away $44 billion tax abatement without at least making your objections known as to the financial impact this is going to have upon all taxpayers in Washtenaw County. Now just keep in mind what I just said, this IFT Act 198 tax abatement is separate and apart from the 6% sales and use tax abatement they also are going to try and become eligible for. That 6% sales tax abatement, based upon their new numbers, is going to amount anywhere between $2.2 to $2.64 billion. And that's going to be a direct impact upon the schools, upon the local governments. And so that is what, is just mind-boggling when you see this picture and then you hear the good work that's being done by people who are trying to serve our residents and knowing that we have a county that is just willing to lay down itself and not itself intervene. They could have intervened in this case. They had a right to intervene in this case and chose not to because they are a taxing unit. Ypsilanti Township is not. They are. And our residents are going to be impacted by that agreement far more than anybody realizes. So as you go forward now, and as you start to see the pushback that's happening all across the state of Michigan in regards to these data centers, what does our governor now propose should be done? What does she propose now? And you've heard the old saying, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. This is a situation now where after years of just pressing forward, twisting arms, making sure that her tax incentive package got approved in late December of 2024 in the 12th hour by the Michigan House and Senate, she now has come up with an idea that, listen, we're going to have all the data centers sign a pledge. It's not an enforceable pledge, it's a pledge, a promise. They're going to sign a pledge to protect residents from increased utility bills and safeguard the environment. In other words, right now, she's saying, if you, data center, why don't you make this political pinky promise and tell us right now that you really aren't going to cause all these increased electric rates and impacts upon our residents. And so she talks about how this 10-point pledge would commit that Michigan households and small businesses will not see higher costs, all based upon this political pinky promise. Well, what I would say is this call for a pledge, you might get a pledge if you're in the Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, a pledge. You may take a pledge. We all know what that means. It's not a legally enforceable agreement. Now, she's an attorney, okay? And so right now, she's asking right now that trying to provide political cover to every state representative and state senator who is facing re-election in this state by going along with her program. They are now feeling the real heat because there's been data centers opposed by just about, I think every city and township has gone on record pretty much opposing these data centers and the impacts. So if these projects don't pose a threat to ratepayers, why is a pledge necessary in the first place? Why do you ask someone to sign a pledge to do no harm if you've been telling everybody there is no harm? Well, it's obvious right now that the guardrails that they're calling for, they're not in place. And instead of putting them in place before you sign legislation into law, you do this beforehand. So now you're trying to play catch up. And right now, this is absolutely, again, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you. The people of this state right now recognize when the governor starts asking data centers to sign pledges instead of actually being bound by legislation that's enforceable in a court of law, it's because they're trying to reassure voters not to protect the residents and taxpayers. I don't know what it's going to take, I really don't, as to what it's going to take for people to see as to how this state has been sold out to a class of billionaires that we've never seen the likes of before, and how they have descended upon Washtenaw County and southeastern Michigan to the point where one of those persons in this groundbreaking ceremony that was held on June 1st in Saline Township, John Ricolta Sr., who's at the Mackinac Island Policy Conference along with his son, who actually said right now only 30 people in each township oppose these data centers. You're letting 30 people dictate what should be done in this state. And it went beyond that. It went beyond the fact that he said that there should be 100 data centers built in Michigan. And furthermore, that his son said, who's now president of the company, that the Great Lakes should now be utilized by the data centers to cool the computers. So after decades of practically every state that surrounds the Great Lakes agreeing to protect the Great Lakes, we now have people that are close to the governor's office who have been involved and have financially benefited by doing no-bid contract work on a facility in Marshall, Michigan 3 years ago. Now had them actually advocating that you could somehow use the Great Lakes in this area to cool data centers. I don't know as to, again, what it's going to take for people at the county level, and the state level, and the federal level to realize right now that this is not going to end well for the state of Michigan. And it's not going to end well for the future. Right now, Michigan, the U of M is trying to play, this cat and mouse game with the township. Is it going to go to Will Run? Are we going to go there? Are we going to go to Bridge Road? Are we going to do both? Are we going to? We don't, so let them basically sit there and worry about it. Well, we're not worried about it because you're not welcome in either location. We made that quite clear. But I couldn't help but also look at an article that Treasurer Eldridge brought to my attention this morning from Detroit Free Press, and it's actually talking about the University of Michigan and their lack of transparency as to how they've handled their own internal investigation involving their sports department. And so they have a headline saying, "Radical transparency, ? Michigan president should take his own advice." And in this article, it points out how, as you recall from last week, the Regents meeting was held up in Traverse City after our meeting. And so on Monday, the president of the university announced that the AD director was going to basically stay on for a few more months. He was going to step down, thanked him for a job he had done. But in that video conference, he obviously, by being a video, there were no reporters there to ask hard questions. He used words such as unacceptable, also said that they're going to commit to work going forward with radical transparency, ethical leadership, and deep community engagement. Sound familiar? Sound familiar?
Yes.
Those words have been used throughout the last 2 years, except for maybe the word radical transparency. They've used radical transparency, ethical leadership, and deep community engagement. Here's what Detroit Free Press had to say about U of M. Because for a long time, everybody's been pointing their finger at this board as somehow we're the ones that have not been very nice or saying things that are very, very critical, and for good reason. But here's what the Free Press said. Terms like transparency and ethical should not be the clarion call for the self-described best public school in the world if the school is going to turn around and seemingly ignore its own words, as it does every time it fights the state's FOIA law, like it did with this very newspaper regarding this very report, and like it has countless other times with countless other media outlets and citizens' requests. If we didn't know any better, we might think U of M has contempt for the state's FOIA law, which is a shame considering the reason the institution exists in the first place, to share information. Now keep in mind, Township submitted a FOIA request. You've seen the FOIA request. It's very detailed. They used words very, very well written, I believe. And at the same time, he described the document, and they said, well, we just don't have, it's overly, it's too burdensome, we're not going to even bother to respond to it. At the end of the day, what is going on at the university and what is going on at the state level, what is going on with the MEDC, what is going on with ACM, everyone that has an acronym, ACM, MEDC, U of M, everyone's got a special name, Ann Arbor Spark. All these organizations have basically, for lack of a better way, almost appears to have been somewhat in collusion in how they're handling this issue with the township. In other words, right now, if you read the comments, and you read the comments, I'm sure every day, on social media, the people following these stories are very articulate, and they know very well what is going on here. And what is going on here is a very deep, concerted effort to basically do what they want to do, no accountability, no transparency, and no intent whatsoever to ever let the township know what's going on until after the fact. So today's July 21st. They said they're going to make their announcement before the end of July, so you have 10 days to make your announcement, and I'm sure we'll get a video recording, or you might get what the supervisor got last time. She might get another text message saying, right now we decided to go to this location. They are not to be trusted. I'm so disappointed right now in the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners in how they allowed, and not even to try and make a public objection to a $44 billion tax abatement. And keep in mind, the tax abatements were intended, these abatements were intended to encourage people to come here or encourage people to invest here. They're already here. They've already started breaking ground. So their commitment has already been made. They went to court and won a consent judgment based upon exclusionary zoning. It had nothing to do with tax abatements. Nothing to do with tax abatements. But again, I know the Supervisor Stumbo attended some of those meetings over there in regards to tax abatements, and I think she was joined by one of the county commissioners, Joseph Robbie, I think, attended two of the meetings, speaking out right now that you do not have to do this. It's going to affect all of us. And they were advised they had no choice but to proceed. And I don't believe the court has the right to mandate to this township board, any township board, that you shall vote a certain way and that you shall do this. That's why we have a separation of powers doctrine. That's why you have cases that have voided agreements that are deemed to be against public policy. And you cannot sell your vote to anyone. You can't sell your vote. You can't basically say in exchange for financial contributions, we're going to grant in advance a tax abatement. That's what that agreement says. It says right now, in order for Oracle to be financially responsible, to make certain financial incentives to the party, which was Saline Township, I guess Saline City got some too, that they had to have this tax abatement approved in accordance with a mandate approved by the Washtenaw County Circuit Court. U of M has lost its moral compass along the way. I think right now you're seeing the state of Michigan has lost its moral compass years ago. And right now it comes down to, and I think, again, I'll say this and then I will close. I did send you an article yesterday, because just like it's very heartbreaking to hear some of these stories about our seniors, I hope you do take the time and read what's going on in this state in the mobile home park industry. There was an article right now, and Dave Bellers and myself have been trying for a number of years to force the state of Michigan to make sure that Greenbrier Mobile Home Park installs the necessary water and sanitary sewer lines because they keep breaking, they're old, etc. And I think Luke Blackburn can also tell you that right now Yucca brings the water to the property line of the mobile home park, and then it's up to the mobile home park to distribute the water, and they can charge whatever they want to charge within that park. In other words, they have this private water distribution network. But I sent you the article about how the federal court had to step in regards to a number of Michigan mobile home parks, one of which has been without running water for 7 months. For 7 months. And it goes on and on about how right now that 22,000 people live in these mobile homes throughout the state is becoming more and more aged in place. They're afraid to make too many complaints because they don't want to risk being evicted. And when you're in a mobile home park and you may not have the running water and you know it's not right, yes, that's where you won't see her coming down and standing outside a mobile home park doing any kind of groundbreaking for basically making sure that the park owners are going to replace those broken water and sanitary sewer lines, but it's her department. Whether it's Eagle and Lara, they have joint jurisdiction over these mobile home parks, and Dave Bellers and now has been very, very committed right now that we have told the park owner who lives in New Jersey that no more mobile homes are going to be brought into this park until those water and sanitary sewer lines are replaced. And they're supposed to be starting last week, and they're supposed to be starting last year and the year before that. We'll see what happens at the end of this week. But at the same time, the state of Michigan issues a letter to the park owner in June saying, well, all the deficiencies that we noted have been corrected, so you're good. So this is what a township has to deal with, and all of us know that we don't have a deep bench. We know at times we have staffing we have short staffing on many, many fronts at times to deal with these issues. This is not what the township board or staff should have to be dealing with. These are problems that are the responsibility of the state of Michigan, the Washtenaw County Department of Public Health, and even the Washtenaw County Prosecuting Attorney. What's going on in some of these parks? It's absolutely criminal what's going on when people don't have running water and you have sanitary sewage backups. So I can't help but juxtapose that picture, again, of the governor standing at a groundbreaking with all the wealthy billionaires in the world, and then having an article published about how a mobile home park has been without running water for 7 months. Something's not wrong, folks. Something's not right here. And unless there is a galvanizing effort, I know our residents want to help, and sometimes we may fall short as what to tell them how to help, because we depend upon help from the federal and state and county. So we can't do it by ourselves, but I think I would be remiss not to at least point out that I have never seen, and I know that Supervisor Stumbo's been here for 36 years. I know that when Trustee Rowe was also supervisor, we oversaw a number of IFTs, and I've never seen one for $44 billion. It doesn't even create permanent jobs. In fact, I know I said I was going to wrap it up, and I will, but I did see where Oracle, who's building the Saline Township data center, and you can do and people say, well, where do you get this information? What's called research, okay? You can do it yourself. But you can do right now and find out that during the last year, Oracle has laid off over 30,000 workers worldwide. They've laid off 30,000 of their own workers because why? They need the funds to build data centers. What is wrong with this picture? So you're going to lay off 30,000 of your workers, take those billions of dollars and invest that in a data center, but yet, don't worry, they signed a pledge. They signed a pledge. They promised not to do something. Even though they say they signed enforceable, they signed a pledge. So everybody should go to bed tonight feeling really, really good. The Oracle and Google down in Van Buren Township, they've all signed a pledge now. So everything's good. Everything's good. It's not going to end well. It's not going to end well for this township. It's not going to end well for If U of M and Los Alamos are allowed to construct these data centers here, and it's not going to end well for the county if they continue to build and destroy farmland, natural resources, the environment. It's not going to end well for the state. It's not going to end well for the job creation, retention. It's not going to happen. But it's going to make those billionaires into trillionaires. So that will be a new classification, but that will be a new word that we'll be throwing around here in a few years, because it's not billionaires anymore, it's trillionaires. So I was hoping the lady from Meals on Wheels would listen to that, because I think it's kind of shameful that the county does not step up and even do more for those who are in the most vulnerable of our citizens, our population, to have them depend upon 2 meals a day. They are doing great work, and they are doing the work of being their brothers and sisters' keepers. They are doing that. And for that, I do applaud them, because I know many people, and all of you do too, where it's kind of a shameful embarrassment sometimes, where the only person that they see is someone coming from Meals on Wheels to their house. I'm glad they're doing it, but we can do better. This money that they've given to these corporations could have been used in this county to, again, you talk about homeless shelters, build 3 or 4 of them. All the things you could do with this $1 billion over 12 years, gone, because you want them to get richer. It's embarrassing. So I'll just stop right there. And but
Thank you, Mr. Winters. Any comments regarding that? Like Mr. Winters said, I did go to the Saline Township meeting twice, and actually 3 times. But I felt so bad for their board, because there was a beast like Oracle coming after 2,700 person population community. And I was there as Ypsilanti Township supervisor, but I was also there advocating for the safety net, where the dollars go to Washtenaw County directly to our people. And it would have made a big difference to not grant that large tax abatement. Someone told me to shut up, so I stood up. We can't stop pushing for doing what's right. Governor Whitmer, shame on you. Shame on you for what it's almost gross what the state of Michigan has done to communities. They've helped billionaires. They've helped U of M, 3rd richest university in the United States, but they haven't helped the people. And I think they were so fast and furious to get this through. And they're reacting to it. And I can speak for myself. It's 7 days a week. I'm gathering information. I'm so thankful to people who send us articles, attorneys who reach out, people from New Mexico. Every day someone is sending me or texting me something to help our case, because they don't want it here, we don't want it here, and it really shouldn't be in the state of Michigan without guardrails. So to try to put a pledge after it's already started to be built, it's embarrassing, it's foolish, and it's gross what's going on, and we can't stop as a community, as citizens. It has galvanized Democrats, Republicans, older, younger, all people. And no one is for it except for the billionaires. And I don't know why we chose this as an economic development engine. Public Act 198 was tied to jobs. And they didn't even, in Saline Township, they did not tie it to jobs in their agreement. After I suggested a clawback, they did add a clawback provision,
But that wasn't even in the agreement, which means if they don't uphold the promises for 12 years, say they go belly up in 6, which it's predicted the bubble will burst in 5 years, then they have to pay back the taxes that they did receive for the tax abatement. But it's so wrong what our state and federal, I mean, it's from our president all the way down, and now our governor. When you're in perfect alignment like that, things move quick, and this is what's happening. And we'll feel the negative effects on our people, on our environment, our water, and animals, wildlife, everything. We're going to feel it later, just like we did the manufacturing industry. And to not do the science before is wrong. So we'll just keep fighting, and Augusta Township's having a meeting Thursday. Everyone is trying to fight the big beast of the billionaires. And thank God for our community who has supported us and helped provide us with the energy to continue this fight, because I know this whole board feels that we're not going to give up. So University of Michigan goes up to Traverse City to have a board meeting. Who does that? They entered into another contract with another nuclear research and development. It is a strategic economic plan for the state of Michigan to partner with the Department of War, which was the Department of Defense. And they did this before there was a war. So, okay, now we're in war, makes us a target. And I have a feeling, Rawsonville plant, I don't know if you've heard, Karen, that they're supposed to be making something. Munition is what they call it.
No, but there was an article, I'm sorry.
Trust me.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about Russell, but gosh, and I meant to but I've been kind of on the road and stuff, but there was the article. Is it Algiers or somewhere on Lake Huron where they're testing underwater? It's all related to war stuff. Testing more, and I thought, I mean, I didn't even know about that. I didn't even know that even existed. It was the facilities doing underground, in the air, all, like major nuclear, like testing of all this war stuff in a place that I didn't even know that even did this in the state of Michigan. So it's like, it definitely is. I mean, more and more is coming out about how this is our future. Is this who Michigan's going to be, the war producers, I guess, of.
That seems to be the economic plan for a very few people who determine this in the state of Michigan. So as more things come up, and the election is probably the greatest thing timing-wise that we have in our favor. And hopefully everyone feels like we do, and it sounds like candidates do. They need to take a pledge. Say no data centers, pause on data centers like other states have done until we can get the science behind it. I'm so thankful Luke Blackburn's here, and YCUA is doing their part to find the science, how it affects our wastewater and water systems and the heating of the earth, could that affect the infrastructure in the ground? We just don't know, and neither do they. So shame on them. Thank you. All right, we'll go on to new business. We have first reading of ordinance 2026-515. It's an ordinance to amend Chapter 62, Article 4, Section 62 through 76A of the Code of Ordinances for the Charter Township of Ypsilanti to adjust water service rates. Clerk Swenson.
Ordinance number 2026-515, an ordinance to amend Chapter 62, Article, is that 5? It's 5, it's 4?
Article 4.
4, thank
Yeah,
you.
sorry.
Thank you. Section 62-76A of the Code of Ordinances, Charter Township of Ypsilanti to adjust water service rates. Be it ordered by the Charter Township of Ypsilanti that Chapter 62, Article 4, Section 62-76A of the Code of Ordinances is amended as follows. Except as otherwise provided in this section, water to be furnished by the system shall be measured by a meter controlled by the Ypsilanti Community Utilities Authority. For all billings rendered prior to September 1st, 2026, existing water service rates shall prevail. For all billings rendered on or after September 1st, 2026, charges for water service rates shall be as follows for each bi-monthly 2-month period. Readiness to serve rates based on the size of meter size in inches, 5/8 to 3/4, $20.66. 1 inch, $51.65, or 65 cents. 1 to 1.5, $103.31. 2 inches, $165.30. 3 inches, $516.55. 4 inches, $1,033.10. 6 inches, $2,066.19. 8 inches, $3,615.84. 10 inches, $5,682.03. 12 inches, $6,715.13. Commodity rate of $4.47 per 100 cubic feet. So moved.
Support. Support Rowe.
Motion Swenson, support Rowe. Mr. Blackburn?
Good evening, Supervisor Stumbo and members of the board. If I may, when I normally go through the water increase and/or the sewer rate increases, can you hear me? I like to first explain kind of the overall. The water sewer rates are just intrinsically tied to each other, YSUA being the provider of those services. So I would like to talk just for a few minutes about our overall budget, some of the goals and objectives and issues that we're dealing with, and then I'll kind of roll that specifically into the water rate increase, and then as a separate agenda item would be the sewer rate increase, if that's okay. This year's budget, as myself and Dwayne Harrigan, YSUA's finance director, we begin to gather the budget and put together the numbers for last year and look at where we're at from in the current year. We continue to focus and invest on our infrastructure. It's a major issue. You can definitely watch the TV these days with the serious water and or sewer issues that's going on with other utilities. So I feel it's vitally important to invest in our infrastructure, water and sewer assets, and that's always our focus. We do continue to struggle with ineligibility on the drinking water side for revolving fund loans for Ypsilanti Township. And we've also been struggling for the last few years of maintaining our fund balance. So we're seeing that fund balance kind of decrease while trying to manage capital improvement projects and so forth. This year, we estimate revenue to be $52.97 million with expenditures of $51.98 million. Those overall expenditures are estimated to increase by $0.59 million, or about 1.2% over our last year's budget. We have done our best to go through the different departments and so forth and minimize those increases as much as possible. YSUA did receive a 5.63% water rate increase from the Great Lakes Water Authority. As a reminder to the board, we do purchase water from the Great Lakes Water Authority, and it's pretty typical once a year to see an annual increase from them. That did become effective July 1st. As we also watch water consumption within our system, for the most part, water consumption has been fairly flat for the last few years, especially over the last 5 years. This year, right now, we've actually had a pretty decent June and July. We're probably tracking just above last year at this time, but we're still relatively flat over the last 5 years. Various other, I'd like to point out some of the larger, what we call non-bonded capital expenditures that YSUA would like to undertake this year is our Merritt Road Station is in need of a new generator. Road repairs is an ongoing capital cost that the authority has to incur, typically related to water main breaks or sewer main issues when we have to do excavations in the public right-of-way and or up into the sidewalk area. We are investing into different technologies to try to do less excavation and do more cured in place piping. Our service department's really leading the effort on that over the last year or two, but still we're caught in many situations where we still have to excavate and break up concrete and asphalt, and those can be significant expenses. We do allocate about $400,000 to fleet vehicles. If anybody has seen YSUA staff driving around, some of the vehicles are definitely in significant disrepair, a lot of rust. We have 3 fleet mechanics for the entire utility that maintains all of our vehicles, plus all of our heavy equipment vehicles, plus all the generators in the plant. So they have a significant workload. So as those vehicles age, they just become, it's not economical to continue to keep them functional. So investing in some new vehicles for the facility. Also, the YCA and or the township was not eligible for a couple wastewater pump station projects that we were hoping to kick off next year. We have a couple of our wastewater stations that are in significant disrepair. Some of them are 50, 60, 70 years old. It's hard to even get parts for some of these stations. So we're anticipating significant investment in those stations. Catastrophic failure of a wastewater lift station usually has a significant impact on a homeowner or a property pretty quickly if we're not right on top of it. And maintaining that infrastructure is vitally important. And lastly, and usually one of the largest ticket items, is we have a couple larger repairs inside of the water resource recovery facility. We recently found some significant damage in some of our aeration piping within what we call our equalization basin. This is basically a large 4 million gallon basin that as wastewater comes in, we can kind of put it in this tank to kind of buffer flow through the plant so it's not so volatile up and down. But that aeration piping has degraded so much that it's starting to collapse. And therefore what's happening is we're getting a lot of what we call solids deposition within these tanks. Therefore it's hindering that process altogether. So we're undergoing a design for that right now, and we've been working on trying to get some of that tank cleaned up to have the construction work proceed. Ongoing or upcoming capital improvement projects that the authority is pursuing. As the board may know, we've started to do some work out by Clark Road, just on the other side of St. Joe Hospital. We've done mainly road work out in the old valve pit there to ensure that we have proper isolation. But we will be constructing a water pump station there. Once that station is constructed, the good thing with this project, we'll be able to keep the old station in service during the whole construction phase. Once the new station is up and in service, we'll be able to demo the old station. Ellsworth water storage tank, if you've had the opportunity to go out there or drive by it, it's recently been repainted inside and out. It's really beautiful. And a couple of our new commissioners got to go see it the other day, and it really looked good. They did a lot of good work out there. So we're put that tank back in service. I think it was last Thursday or Friday of last week. So that was a long overdue and great improvement. We continue to replace water meters for township residents. We're at about approximately, at last I heard, about 4,000 of 17,000. So our staff are the ones doing those replacements. It's a significant undertaking, but they've been doing a great job of installing those meters. And we're also, as we install those meters, giving residents, you can install an application on your phone that if you're away from your house, you can get an alert for a leak or unusual water usage or any type of usage that you want to put into the application to be notified by text or phone and so forth. So it gives residents that extra level of security when they're away from home or something, or may have a water leak inside their residence. Other major projects going on at the plant. We're doing a major project for what we call our primary switchgear. This is the with 13,200 kilovolts that come into the treatment plant. That is original electrical switchgear. That is, as of today, we're even switching some of that equipment today, beginning replacement of that. So that project actually started back in 2018, but through many hurdles, we're finally getting to construction this summer. Some of our primary tanks at the plant will be probably late in the fall beginning construction on those. 5 of those tanks, excuse me. Those 5 tanks are also original to the original plant construction from 1982. A good sign of progress in regards to the drinking water fund. As of right now, we have seen an updated plan from the state of Michigan where it appears, if it stays throughout the public comment period, that the township will be eligible for, I believe it's around 30 or 40 lead service line replacements as part of a loan program with some loan forgiveness. So it's still in the public comment period. So I kind of was burned on that a few years ago. That came out, things changed. So I think it's some good news right now, but we'll wait till the final plan is done and published before we get too excited on that just yet. Bond payments for the authority, we do expect about $1.68 million worth of debt to fall off over the next 5 years. About $0.63 million of that is directly township related, and about $0.22 million of that is shared debt. In the packet, I also list some upcoming bonds. Those are projects that's been completed, but I'm trying to do a better job of sharing not just debt coming off, but making sure that we're showing debt that comes on. I do come here every so often and bring these projects up, but that shows the other side of it when those projects are completed. One of the nuances this year that I want to point out to the board is our largest water customer, which is Pittsfield Township. Their water service contract expired back in December of this year. So we had to go through what's called a rate model or rate service study for them. Cost service study is sometimes what it's referred to. As we went through that, it kind of threw, I would say, some of the stuff that Dwayne and I do kind of it changed it up significantly for us of how we set rates and so forth for our contract communities. And I call them buckets, when we put costs into various buckets to ensure that when we're spending X dollars, whether it be on pumps or chemicals or whatever it is, that the appropriate parties are being allocated the appropriate money for those. So that it was a huge reset this year for myself and for Dwayne at the facility. And then lastly, what this has resulted in is we are proposing a 9% increase in water rates for the township and a 2% increase in sewer rates for the township. I know those numbers are significant, especially the 9%. I would ask that when you do the math on them, we look at them together. I think at the end of the day, what matters to a resident is not what any individual rate goes up, it is what the bill goes up. It is the overall rate increase of the bill. The combined effect, what we call it, is 5.75%. And what that equates to, we usually use 10 units of usage for kind of an average customer. We do see some customers less, but usually two-family home and so forth, a 2 to 3 person home uses around 8 to 9 units of usage. That does increase their bi-monthly bill by $6.43 or $3.21. The YSA Board of Commissioners did approve that on June 24th. Would also remind the board that we continue to have staff direct customers that may need financial assistance to the Water Residential Assistance Program, which is operated through Great Lakes Water Authority. And then also Ypsilanti Township offers a $40 rebate for residents in need of financial assistance. I know this agenda item is focused on the water rate increase, but I would welcome any questions at this time.
Are there questions or comments? Well, I will. On the water side, it's 9% and 5.63, so almost 6% is Great Lakes Water.
Correct.
Okay. I think that's important to note. And the fact that we don't qualify for those low interest loans since 2018, am I correct, Luke?
I'm not sure, I wasn't here in 2018, but I know that since I've been back November of 21, we've been pretty active in applying for what we call SRF funding through drinking water, clean water. And as of right now, on only the lead service lines, that would be the first time that the township potentially could be eligible for we call SRF funding on that project specifically. So as of right now, everything I mentioned, such as the east side of Sugarbrook, that was an open market bond, Ellsworth, Clark Road, the water meters, we've applied for funding for all of those and been ineligible for that.
And that's at 2 to 2.5%.
When the township qualifies, if the township were to qualify, it would be at 2.5%.
Compared to 4.5%?
I think last time it was around 4-ish. The open market bonds, usually right now, the bond update I saw maybe a month ago was around 4.05, somewhere right around there.
I think the last one was 4.5, but so 2 percentage points difference on $5 million that we always qualified for. And the state changed those who qualify, and it deeply affected Ypsilanti Township. I I hope they change it back. We've asked them to do, and we finally qualify, I think, perhaps this year, if we get it, if, there's so many ifs in it.
We have
And I just
qualified for
think-
the plan.
Huh?
Recently, we did get the plan qualified for a couple projects. That was the first time in a couple of years, too.
At the state level?
Yeah.
And I think that it's like a cascade effect, and it's hard to hold everything up. And Ypsilanti Township does have a subsidy program of $40. We increased it from 20 to 40 to help residents that qualify. There's other opportunities for assistance to do that, but I don't know what choice we have in order to improve the service districts with the interest rates at what they're at now.
I feel like it's a very delicate balance every year to mitigate costs as much as possible, but also make sure that we're not so focused on cost that we forget to invest in the infrastructure. Because I think when we've seen it in our system a couple times, and we see it on the news, relatively recently. When you have infrastructure failures in water and sewer systems, it's catastrophic. So I hope as long as I'm here, I can keep those to a minimum as much as possible.
Yeah.
Madam
Sorry, we have
Chair, I have
Trustee Newman.
a couple of questions. To explain it simply to the residents, when you said it would be basically $6.43 based on an average of 10 units used, and you said that's $3.24 each for water and sewer?
No, I'm sorry when I talk about them together because it does get confusing, but that would be an increase of $3.21 on the total bill. I know this agenda item is only water, but I can tell you exactly what the water increase is.
It's always combined, though.
It's always combined on the bill, yes.
So, yeah, so when they see their water bill, and then we can kind of explain
Yes.
just what's happening.
The average increase, or between the two rates. Because I think at the end of the day, a customer cares about what is the total amount of money that I'm sending to YCUA.
Exactly.
That is on average, 5.75% more than it would be under the current rates,
Okay.
Which is how much per month?
which is $3.24
21 cents.
per month, yep.
Okay. And with that, will there be any other increases, say, in the next year or two? Not necessarily those same increases, but different increases, because people are tired of being increased to death.
Sure.
And, if there's something else, another water bill to serve another purpose, or and I know you can't make any guarantees, but will this be sustainable for future years?
This budget is based upon current costs for the next fiscal year. I can pretty much guarantee you that Great Lakes Water Authority will increase their rate to YCUA again July 1st of 27. Some of the projections we have seen are upwards of 7%. So as long as our costs to deliver water continue to go up, it will be difficult to not incur some type of rate increase.
Because we're actually purchasing water from Great Lakes Water, so it's a pass-through cost. And this is a larger increase than normal, and then it's going to go, according to everything you read, it's going to continue to go up.
I mean, I just received today notification that due to some of the outages that's been incurred in Oakland County, GLWA is committing to spending $83 million in those communities, and that's a lot of money. So we're all part of that larger system. So when we see these infrastructure failures, I understand the GLWA system. I spent 5 years there, and it is extravagant. I do believe the township benefits. I support the GLWA system and believe that it does provide our residents some of the best water quality available. But it is a large and expensive system. So I think our job is to try to keep those costs at bay as much as possible. But I would never want to come in front of you and give any type of misinformation that I don't think costs will continue to go up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other comment? Hearing none, because this is our ordinance, we have to do a roll call vote. Rowe?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Swanson?
Yes.
Stumbo votes yes. Eldridge?
Yes.
And Thornton.
Yes.
First reading is approved.
Thank you.
The next item is the first reading of ordinance 2026-516. It's an ordinance to amend Chapter 62, Article 4, Section 62-77 of the Code of Ordinances to adjust the sewer service rates. Clerk Swanson?
Ordinance 2026-516, an ordinance to amend Chapter 62, Article 4, Section 6277 of the Code of Ordinances, Charter Township of Ypsilanti, to adjust sewage disposal rates. Be it ordered by the Charter Township of Ypsilanti that Chapter 62, Article 4, Section 6277 of the Code of Ordinances is amended as follows. For all billings rendered prior to September 1st, 2026, existing sewage disposal service rates shall prevail. For all billings rendered on or after September 1st, 2026, charges for sewage disposal services shall be as follows for each bi-monthly 2-month period. Readiness to serve rates based on size of meter, 5/8 to 3/4 inches, $20, 1 inch, $49.99, 1 to 1.5 inches, $99.96, 2 inches, $159.95, 3 inches, $499.84, 4 inches, $999.67, 6 inches, $1,999.33, 8 inches, $3,498.83, 10 inches, $5,498.16, 12 inches, $6,497.83. Commodity rate, $3.29 per 100 cubic feet. So moved.
Motion Swanson, support Peterson. Are there questions and comment? You gave the presentation, right?
Yeah, this is the sewer piece of the rate. This is the portion of the rate that definitely we have more control over as YSUA operates the regional wastewater treatment plant. It is an aging plant. As I've mentioned, we have a number of construction projects going on. I would advise the board that we have implemented probably some of the largest rate increases that I've seen in my years to our contract communities this year. So, we are, as we reset rates, and I talk about going through that new methodology, we're trying to look at everything and make sure that everything is being put in the right bucket and properly allocated. So that has incurred some significant cost increases for the contract communities. But for this year, we are proposing a 2% increase in sewage rates for the township and would welcome any further questions.
Questions or comment? And Lou,
Yes.
the people we contract with, those contracts are expiring, correct? Like Pittsfield?
Correct. That's only on water, though. So
Okay.
actually, their sewer contract did not expire.
But when they do, then we're going to look at,
I actually think, I'm going to give a lot of credit here to Tom Daniels because I worked with him years ago and he had a big hand in a lot of that work. I feel like our sewer contracts are really well-written and very robust. The reason that we spent so much time this year with Pittsfield, that's our largest water customer, and I don't believe we have revisited that contract. It was extended, I forget exactly what year, but the original contract was 1974. So our water contracts were just not as robust. And to be honest, a lot of the data center discussion really made us look internally and say, look, if something were to happen out there, we need to make sure that rates are set correctly, costs are allocated correctly. If we were to ever incur significant expenditures for whatever reason, that the right community is being allocated those costs. And to be honest, I think the wastewater contracts have always done a great job of that. I mean, it's very well done, but the water side has just been different. So it's really taken a long time for Dwayne and myself and Scott to really unravel all this and make sure that it's being done correctly. So it's a work in progress. I think we're 85% of the way there, but it's a big goal of mine to make sure that it's 100% correct.
We're doing a good job in making sure that everyone's paying towards
Yes.
the cost of the transmission of the water.
And that's a critical piece that gets left out because a lot of people don't realize, take for example Pittsfield, how we allocated their costs. Normally you look at larger transmission mains. Most engineers would look at larger transmission mains which deliver water, and we'd allocate those costs pretty quickly. But because the way the way Township and Pittsfield and Superior and Augusta are connected to YCUA and the Township system, it's intrinsic. So now we've actually backed it down to 12-inch water mains. So when our guys are out repairing a 12-inch water main, it has an impact on those communities. So I just say it's intrinsically connected, and therefore they should pay those costs.
Thank you. So we have a motion and support. I am going to do a roll call. Thank you for the reminder. Rowe? Yes. Newman?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Swanson? Yes. Stumbo votes yes. Eldridge?
Yes.
Thornton?
Yes.
The first reading is approved. Thank you, Luke.
Appreciate the support. Thank you.
Number 3 is accept the resignation of Marcia Lathan from the Board of Review effective immediately.
So moved.
Motion Peterson, support
Rowe.
Rowe. Marcia has been on the Board of Review for 10 years, and we appreciate her service. This will be posted externally for people who would like to apply. We have a motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 4 is to approve Infrastructure Engineering of Michigan supplemental proposal for the E-Course Road feasibility study in the amount of $9,500, which is budgeted.
So moved.
Motion Eldridge. Support Newman. This additional work actually came out of the public meeting that was hosted in the Hawthorne neighborhood off of E-Course Road. There was, 100 and plus people. It was very well attended. And they had requested that we do additional studies in September and October on truck traffic as well, not only the number of vehicles, but what type of vehicles, to just determine how, if any recommendations are made for the road diet on E-Course, and there will be an additional public meeting in the community to make sure whatever is recommended, that we go back out to the public and show them with the new information that we're receiving. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Actually, I do have a
Yes?
question. So with the road diet, are we taking into consideration the school that's on E-Course as well?
Yeah, everything will be taken into consideration, and,
But it's only 24 hours. How much,
well, they're doing it in September and October, which is when they're in. Are they in school then? So it would help with that count.
but it's only 24 hours
Yes,
study, right?
that's how they do it.
Okay.
I know, it seems like it'd be longer, but that's how the engineer studies are done.
Okay.
We didn't do one during that time period. It was either in the winter, I think. So they wanted to make sure that the schools were in when this occurred.
Okay.
Good question. And all of this recommendations will come back to the residents and then to the township board before we move forward. There's some great input. We have a motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 5 is to approve the extension of past photography pilot for 6 months at the current rate of $300 per meeting to be paid from 266-303-880000.
So moved, Peterson.
Motion Peterson,
Support.
support Eldridge. Is there discussion?
Just my discussion is, I had talked to him after one of the meetings, and he said they were capable of doing our meetings live, and that just was going to have to take some work and coordination between folks here, and can we maybe get somebody to work on that so we can bring that back?
And we have discussed that with IT director, and it has something to do with a T3 line or something. I'm not exactly sure, Karen, but we did ask that for that, and I agree, it should be able to be live, but there's some sort of high-speed internet line. I don't know the terminology.
So maybe we could get Travis to work with our person here to come up and bring back a plan. I mean, you can
Yeah.
do it, and just what it's
Well, I mean, I say we can do it. He says we can't without that certain line, but it seems like we could. I agree. We can
People
push.
do them on YouTube, so I know there's a way. So they need to figure that out. I mean, I think that's the direction of the board, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
Residents are asking it all the time.
And I do know that the residents really appreciate us implementing the videotape, and then Mr. Pask, he actually goes after the meeting, downloads it, and then uploads it to YouTube before it even gets to the township website. And then he emails it over to our webmaster to actually upload it on the township website. But I can actually ask again, our IT director. If not, maybe someone else can help us with that. I agree. So we have a motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 6, is to approve Bill Carr Signs as a single-source vendor for the purchase and installation of one replacement sign located at the Law Enforcement Center in the amount of $27,305, which is budgeted, or contingent upon a budget amendment.
So moved.
Motion Thornton,
Support.
support Eldridge. The sign at the Law Enforcement Center on Huron Street just stopped working. Oh, John is here.
Good evening, John Hines, Municipal Service Director. We are requesting Bill Carr Signs as a single source. I know you've heard their names many times before you. They are responsible for the replacement of all the signs in the township we have done over the last 2 years. We are requesting that they replace the digital portion of the sign at the Law Enforcement Center due to it breaking. I'm not sure if you've driven by over the last 3-4 weeks, but one sign is inoperable, and we did ask them for a repair. It is a sign we've repaired at least twice over the last 4 years, and they said due to the age of the sign, there's no longer parts available. So they would do a full replacement of the digital double-sided portion. It would be slightly bigger, but like the fire station signs that are soon to be installed in the next couple months, it would be a Think sign that would be able to work with the other system for the Civic Center and the fire station signs. So hopefully this would give us much better implementation for advertising, and again, now be fully operable.
Questions or comments?
Madam Chair, so
Yes.
John, you're saying it just broke and you replaced it many times. I did hear you say that. My question would be, what type of guarantee for this $27,000? How long would this sign last?
That's a great question.
Do you know, just off the top of your head?
It does come with a 5-year labor warranty and a 5-year parts warranty.
Labor and parts?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Sorry about that. Number 7 is approve the W.J. O'Neill Company to perform a replacement of the existing 3-ton split unit and an installation of a new backup 3-ton split unit at the Civic Center server room for $38,174, contingent upon a budget amendment.
So moved.
Motion Peterson?
No, Karen.
No, Rowe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My bad.
Motion Rowe?
Support Peterson.
Support Peterson, my apologies. Mr. Hines?
Yes, I'm bringing this forward with Travis McDougald, IS manager, but this would be to replace the existing AC unit that serves our server room here at the Civic Center. Unfortunately, on July 1st, due to the extreme heat, the age of the unit, and the fact that we did a construction project that doubled the size of the demand for the unit, the compressor died. Thankfully, WJ, they did send a tech out that next day to try to fix it, but it was just completely gone with the compressor failing. So we do have a temporary unit running the room right now, but of course that can only get us going for so long. So this would be to replace the unit, but also the secondary part of this. There were two proposals, and what was sent over would be to add a secondary unit if this were to ever happen again. It's something that frankly we probably should have done in the foresight, because if a unit were to die, at least it could kick on and we would not have the rush to replace it as we do right now. The secondary unit does cost more than the Proposal 1 replacement unit, and that's because the space does not it's not built for the housing right now. There will need to be some boring of the ceiling to add additional exhaust, new piping, running the electrical to the generator, so it is a
Higher cost.
higher cost. It is going to be a bigger project to do the second, but by doing both at one time, we are getting a $2,500 break due to not needing to remobilize the crane. And there's a 3 to 5 lead day time for the first unit, which of course is the priority. So if this were approved, we would look to get this to WJ to get replaced, hopefully next week.
Questions or comment? There is no climate change, is what they say.
Those 95-degree days are not doing us any favors.
Right. That was a joke, for the record. We have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 8 is to waive the bidding requirement of financial policy and improve CEI of Ann Arbor, Michigan for services to replace a roof at the hydro station contingent on attorney review. Michael? Motion Eldridge, support Rowe. Michael?
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Mike Sarn. I'm the operations manager and safety coordinator for the township. So we had a roof failure. The system that was up there had separated from the concrete deck. And so we went to one of the building firms to help build a project that would have a 20-year warranty. So, but that also limits our availability to hire contractors because it has to be done a certain way. And the manufacturer has a very small pool of installers. So CEI is one of them. We did get quotes from Newton Crane Roofing and Royalty Roofing to kind of give us a cross or a bid or average competitive price. So CEI Michigan came in at low at $50,395. So.
Questions or comment? So the amount is $50,395, and it was the lowest quote. You did get 3 quotes for the job.
Yeah, they get 3 quotes, yes.
Pardon me for not having the other 2 quotes. What were the other quotes? Were they?
My apologies. Newton Crane Roofing came in at $61,050, and Royalty Roofing came in at $56,850.
Okay. So was the decision not only based on the low end, but was it based on quality or?
All companies were comparable because the manufacturer that will be providing the warranty, all are reputable installers. I asked questions about any current issues with the installers. They were all up on par with the warranty company and the manufacturer. So they were all equal. It really came down to CEI is a Washtenaw County contractor. The other ones were on the east side, and they were also low bid.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We have a motion and support. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 9 is to approve replacing 3 existing automated external defibrillators, AEDs, in the township-owned building.
So moved. Rowe.
Support?
Is that motion Rowe? Support Newman?
Madam Chair.
Yes,
So
Michael.
these here are 3 of them that we currently have, one here at the community center, the civic center, and at the 14B court. They are over 6 years old, and they're due for annual replacement maintenance, batteries, pads, that stuff. Right now, I have to take on that responsibility, coordinate it with the manufacturer's service. Then we're out of those units for months at times because of battery availability. With going to a service or a lease program, a rental program, they provide the maintenance. They will exchange the one that needs maintenance, and then they give us a loaner unit. And this is a 3-year rental agreement. I'll be working with Doug on language and answering questions that he'll have on this agreement. So, the prices came in pretty close. Cintas came in the middle at $14,580 over the 3 years. Thompson Safety came in at $14,038.92 over the 3 years. And the Certisite is also our fire suppression inspection, and they came in at $16,698. That one there, I was a little bit surprised, and what they did there is the township had to buy the units, and they pay them to maintain them. So that was why that one came in more, because we had to actually buy the units up front. So whereas Cintas and Thompson's, they bought them, they own them, we're just basically leasing them from them. So, yeah.
So the motion is for Cintas at $14,580.
Yeah, that's my recommendation, because they're doing our first aid cabinets now, and that gives us, they have the person on site once a month already. They've already had to go through special security clearance for the hydro, the resource center. So the staff already knows the service tech. So of course they change over the years, but that company has been vetted, so I've not heard any complaints with their service.
And it's currently budgeted.
Yes, it's currently budgeted, yeah.
All right. We have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 10 is approved budget number 11. Brooke Swanson.
Motion to amend the 2026 budget number 11. Move to increase the general fund budget by $38,174 to $13,089,027 and approve the department line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the bike, sidewalk, rec, roads, general, BSR 2 fund budget by $50,000 to $3,238,804 and approve the department line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the law enforcement fund budget by $27,305 to $9,990,953 and approve the department line item changes as outlined. So moved.
Motion Swanson.
Support Rowe.
Support Rowe. Questions or comments? We did have to increase the sidewalk repair. There was a lot this year, so we increased them by $50,000, which is in this budget amendment. We have a motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Under authorization and bid, we are seeking sealed bids for replacement pavilion to be located at Clubview Park, which is budgeted.
So move, Peterson.
Motion Peterson.
Support.
Support Eldridge. This will come back to the board. Questions or comments?
Yeah, do we have, I'm sorry, do we have specs developed for the proposal?
There's a 90% RFP in the packet, so there's just a final few things that they wanted to button up that just were not done in time. But yeah, all the specs are.
So that's what we're approving, is the specs and to go out?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
We did do community engagement as well on the location of the pavilion. And we located it in between the pickleball court and the playground. I'd say the pickleball court and then the Fairway Hills entrance, and then closer to the Clubview entrance. And the overwhelming majority wanted it closer to the pickleball courts and the playground. So it's not going to be exactly where it was before, but it'll be kind of in that general direction.
Thank you. Any
So
other?
John, they will tear the old one down? That's really close to that gate coming in?
The old one, actually, we had to tear down due to the wood deficiencies. So it was taken down last year. So our plan is to, hopefully we can get the RFP finalized this week, get it posted, and bring an award back for the next meeting. If not, it'll be September. But it's a very straightforward job, so I'm hoping that the weather holds out and we can get it done this year.
Okay, thank you.
We have a motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
you.
And we have the recommendation to award the bid to Varsity Ford of Ann Arbor for one new Ford 2026 F-150 4x4 Super Crew to support the fire department operations and emergency responses, which is budgeted.
So moved.
Support.
Motion Rowe, support Thornton. Oh, Chief?
Good evening once again. Yes, after the the bids were opened a week or so ago, and looking through all the proper paperwork and stuff, as you can see in front of you, we would prefer to award the bid to Varsity Ford. They were a few dollars or a few $100s more, but we've had some past experiences working with them with our fleet vehicles. To give you the example, our local Ford dealer here in town does not have a diesel mechanic, so we would have to go outside and look, not that these vehicles are diesel, but they're a little bit bigger and better to support our needs. Talking to Municipal Director John Hines, in the past we bought some vehicles through Varsity Ford, and they seem to meet our needs with one fail shot. Another thing I like about them too is if I need to get the vehicle over for service, it's local, where if I had to travel outside the county to say Detroit or whatever, it would increase overtime for the township. If I personally couldn't take it out, if the vehicle broke down or something and we were busy. So my recommendation, even though it is a couple $100s more to go with Varsity, very friendly to the township, and I think that it would suit our well purpose.
Questions or comments? And we did have 8 bidders.
Yes.
Yep, I counted them, I think.
Yes.
So
And we
that
had-
was quite a good bid, and I want to thank Mila for getting
Yes,
that out there and not
having-
only posting it, but also sending it to local
Absolutely.
people as well, so great.
And for the first time, we actually had, or my experience was, we had 2 individuals, I believe it was a husband and wife, that came in and actually wanted to witness the process as well. So it's out there, they know we're using it, and it's a straight stream for everybody.
So we have a motion support, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
At this time, are there public comments to be made? If you could address the board, you have 3 minutes.
Chair Mahaley, resident. Thanks for putting on the special meeting about the data center, U of M Los Alamos, and spending the time to inform people. And let you know, I did go to the Ann Arbor City Council and ask them to put forth a resolution to support the township and not having it. Believe it or not, the crickets were louder. You know, and I'm really starting to think that Ann Arbor really doesn't like Ypsi Township, or people on the other side of 23, really. You know what I mean? You ask them for something, but the mayor says there will be no data center in Ann Arbor. But they'll make sure there's one in Ypsi Township, right? And another reason why I think Ann Arbor doesn't like Ypsilanti or Ypsi Township is, if you heard the news today on NPR, they gave a half-hour conversation with Mayor Taylor and Robbie, Yusuf Robbie. And when Mayor Taylor was talking, he spoke about how the Delana Center is overflowing and that they're willing to give money to Ypsilanti Township to build a homeless shelter out of their own funding because they are overflowing, and their overflowing is affecting their downtown area. And to help that, they want to put money from Ann Arbor towards Ypsi Township to put up a homeless shelter to deter their homeless people. So this is why I'm starting to think that Ann Arbor really doesn't like Ypsi or Ypsi Township. And you can go back to the interview in about 42 minutes and it starts. You can hear the whole thing where he starts talking about the Delana Center and the funding, and how he's going to give funding to the east side so they can help build a homeless shelter so they can send their overflow. Okay? I'm just informing you what's going on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Had no idea. Any other comment? That's shocking.
I'll come down now.
Hi.
Okay, sorry. Hi, I'm Courtney Brady. I am an Ypsi Township resident. I have quite a bit to say, so I'm going to try to be fast. First, I want to thank you, Brenda, for showing up at Saline. I was there at the first tax abatement meeting. I just want to say that, sorry to be inappropriate, but you've got more balls than all of those men up there and all those men in that picture. You showed up and said no. You, Joseph, all of them. Just thank you again for showing up. Thank you for bringing it up today, because I was also not able to make the informational meeting, so I wanted to thank you for doing that as well. All very important things. I also wanted to thank you, Doug, for bringing up a lot of information about the bad actors we talked about today. We talked about last week. Justin Hodge. I'm going to call out Anthony Hudson for showing up and saying no data centers while he's sharing AI videos and pretending generative AI isn't in a data center, and that we need to do our research. I think he needs to do his research. His immigration policies don't reflect his anti-flock policies. Again, bad actors, MEDC, we called them out. We're going to keep calling them out. But I also really want to highlight today Carlisle Wortman Associates. I know they've been brought to your attention. I know you've been sent an affidavit about what they did in Saline, using a 2013 draft to review Related Digital's proposal. The lawyer, Fred Lucas, knew about it. The whole board knew about it. Sorry. I did a lot of frantic planning here, but I just want to call out, again, Carlisle Wortman Associates. Several reasons. They're doing the same thing in Allen Park, Berlin, Dundee, Saline, Lenox, Wixom, Pittsfield Township. They're going to do it here. They're doing it here. They're all over our master plan. I'm young, dumb, and new to this, but I reviewed our 2020 master plan, which is the only thing that I saw on the website. Not looking good. A lot of political frilly language like you talked about redevelopment. MEDC's readiness development plan was on goal number 2 under the jobs was very alarming. Goal number 4, to facilitate redevelopment of vacant and underutilized land. The riverfront, very scary. Goal number 5 was the most alarming, saying that you wanted to continue the development of the Willow Run Bomber Plant as a tourist and technology magnet. Inviting them right in, guys. That's just absolutely terrifying. There's nothing about Carlisle Wortman Associates and MEDC that doesn't scream data centers. They are bringing them here. The entire master plan and the 2022 zoning that was posted on the website is just tailored for them to do this. I think we point a lot of fingers at going up the ladder, which I completely agree with, but it starts here with that master plan. And like I said, I've only was 5 pages into the master plan, none of the zoning, and I'm new to this, but we need to be aggressive and protective, not let them do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Courtney.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate those comments, and
In Great Lakes
she's
Water
right.
Authority. You called them out, let's stay on them. The moratorium, sorry, I just want to say one more thing, the moratorium. Thank you so much, Luke Blackburn, but we got to stay on Great Lakes Water Authority. They're increasing our prices because of that. He even said it. Let's be real.
Thank you. Other comments from the public? Hearing none, we did add under, are there any board member comment? The only thing I would say is that I know Mr. Winters is working with planning on a data center ordinance.
Yeah, we're looking at different drafts right now. And
It's another attorney firm,
some
yeah.
of the things that were brought up this evening by, I think it was Courtney?
Yes.
Yeah, we've been looking at what you've been saying as well. So it's a work in progress, but what you said is also, it's been somewhat on our plate as well. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, we have to add Resolution 2026-16. Trustee, or Treasurer Eldridge, you wanted to bring this forward?
Okay, the Charter Township of Ypsilanti Resolution 2026-16, a resolution opposing the proposed increase to the Washtenaw County E-911 surcharge until greater transparency, equity, and financial accountability are provided to the Charter Township of Ypsilanti and all other police service contracting communities within Washtenaw County. Whereas the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners established the Police Services Steering Committee to maintain a collaborative and transparent relationship between Washtenaw County, the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Office, and local units of government regarding the delivery and cost of contract police services, and to facilitate a fair, data-driven contract negotiation process. And whereas the PSSC was intended to provide a forum for meaningful discussion regarding police service methodology, cost allocation, service delivery, and other matters affecting local contracting communities prior to significant policy decisions being made. And whereas the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Office has proposed an increase to the county's E-911 surcharge while simultaneously suggesting a modification of the police service unit, a PSU, methodology and reducing the public safety and mental health millage subsidy currently benefiting communities that contract with the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Office. And whereas the elected officials for the Charter Township of Ypsilanti support identifying sustainable funding sources for emergency communications and recognizes the importance of providing high-quality 911 dispatch services throughout Washtenaw County, and whereas the proposed methodology provides little meaningful benefit to contracting communities because the removal of dispatch costs from the PSU methodology is substantially offset by a corresponding reduction in the public safety and mental health millage subsidy. And whereas the contracting communities already fund the majority of the Sheriff's Office contracted patrol operations and have historically relied upon the public safety and mental health millage subsidy to help offset these costs, and whereas the Washtenaw County Sheriff's decision to suspend her personal participation in the Police Services Steering Committee and the recommendation to pause meaningful discussion of police service funding and methodology until after the November 2026 election is inconsistent with the purpose for which the PSSC was established and limits the collaborative dialogue necessary for local units of government to make informed decisions regarding the proposed E-911 surcharge. And whereas the governing body believes that the significant changes to the police services funding methodology, along with the true impacts of the proposed E-911 surcharge, should be fully vetted through the Police Services Steering Committee with the active in-person participation of the Washtenaw County Sheriff before any ballot proposal is presented to the voters of Washtenaw County. Now, therefore, be it resolved that, number one, the Charter Township of Ypsilanti opposes the proposed increases to the Washtenaw County E-911 surcharge until greater transparency, is provided regarding the revised Police Service Unit, PSU, funding methodology, the reduction in the public safety and mental health millage subsidy, the proposed use of approximately $1 million in redirected millage funds, and the financial impacts on contracting communities. Number two, the Charter Township of Ypsilanti opposes suspending meaningful police services steering committee discussions regarding the proposed E-911 surcharge, police services unit methodology, and the public safety and mental health millage subsidy until after the 2026 election, and believes these matters should be fully discussed before the proposal is presented to the voters of Washtenaw County. Number three, the Charter Township of Ypsilanti requests that the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners and the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Office fully engage the Police Services Steering Committee, including the Sheriff's active and in-person participation as a committee member in accordance with its intended purpose prior to advancing significant changes affecting contract police services, funding methodology, or the proposed E-911 surcharge. Number four, the Charter Township of Ypsilanti supports continued investment in emergency communications and countywide public safety initiatives, but believes those initiatives should be funded through transparent, equitable, and sustainable revenue sources that do not diminish the historical public safety and mental health millage benefit provided to contracting communities. Number five, the Charter Township of Ypsilanti directs the township clerk to transmit a certified copy of this resolution to each member of the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners, Washtenaw County Sheriff Alicia Dyer, and the Washtenaw County Administrator. I would so move the resolution.
Motion Eldridge. Support Swanson. Do you want to just, there were two other communities that are part of the Police Services Committee that adopted this resolution, and it was sent to us. I think Sheriff Dyer, like her heart was in the right place, but it was going so quickly and there was so many questions that couldn't really be answered. And the proposal would take the 45 cents per line for each of cell phones up to $3. And it could be $2.50, $2.70. There really wasn't, we couldn't get a good answer on that. And that would, so sometimes, like in my family, we have 3 phones. So each phone would go from 45 cents, it could go up to $3, but I think it was like $2.50 per line, and that's per month. And it also includes landlines, believe it or not. So I think there does need to be a change in 911 and the way it's funded, but I think we really do need to pause and study it more and see what are the effects on the PSU, what are the effects on the general fund for the county budget as well, because they will benefit from this, and answer the question, how will it affect each family that actually has these cell phones? So it was just too rushed of a decision for me, and why I do support this resolution. And it can be brought back. I did call Commissioner Hodges to let him know that this was going to be considered, and he understood. They can't do it in 27 because there's no county-wide election, so they'll wait to do it until in 2028, and then that gives time for people to learn more about it and understand it thoroughly, and perhaps get something in writing that says how this increased fees will affect the county, and as well as the police services, and most importantly, the residents of the community. So, yes.
So this just circles back to what Attorney Winters talked about earlier today. The idea that the county didn't stand up against tax cuts, but they want people to pay for this service, which people in Washington County have been very generous as far as passing millages to help. But the question then is, why are we giving tax breaks to the people in the picture, those companies? Because, I mean, they could definitely afford it and no problem. And then it also is concerning because in our case, the data center that's being crammed on our throats doesn't pay taxes at all, including the taxes to help fund the emergency responders, which is so curious as well. So I think it's important. I don't think our board is not in favor of emergency services and 911. But the question is, like, when are people going to start standing up for the people that represent them? Because there's a lot that the county could do with money, including probably make sure that 911 was fully funded in a different way.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, Trustee Rowe.
I mean, I know things have changed since I was on the Police Services Committee, but this is a change. This is a complete, like, throwing everything out. And I think they're taking advantage of our sheriff because I don't think she knows. Because that was a deep, inbred, long-term, I mean, even before the different millages or the millage that came up that we shared and all that the promise was made. My understanding is now they passed other ordinances to take those dollars away from us. Well, that's not what was the understanding and stuff. And so just to throw that all away. And then on top of it, just, I think what Clerk Swanson said and what we've all been alluding to, it's like there's like dysfunction on the County Board of Commissioners. The data center is a huge, huge issue, and they ought to be on there. But there's a million things that they're doing that they're just lost on. And I don't know, like, there's no direction other than, how can we charge you more? How can we get you to pay more? I just read where they're considering a new tax. They're trying to decide whether they're going to put that on the ballot for us to pay for health care for people that I guess aren't getting it anymore. Let's be clear here. I wrote it on one of my Facebook posts, but I'll never forget, being on a county commission, but even before I was on, I can never forget, it's Tim Krieger, who's from Willow Run, talked about his wonderful father, Dillard, who was the County Board of Commissioners representing Township, who really represented the Township for years. And then there was Prater, and then there was Ronnie, and then, I'm probably missing somebody else that was on there, but Ricky Jefferson. But you always knew, you didn't even have to call these people. You knew, I don't have to call, like when they say, call your state senator. I don't have to call my county commissioner because I know they're on it. You don't have that today. And they've sold out, like no one represents us. And they want to keep Ann Arbor happy and to be on their thing. And Wes Prater said it. When the townships across this county, and you see it, and I'm so happy when I finally got a chance to read that, so the other two townships are together, and then there's us, that's three of us at least. He said, when Wes Prater said, the townships have got to stick together in Washtenaw County. If they don't, then it's all thrown away and everything's going. That police millage, all the things that are happening, and what they're saying, and they're saying it clear to some people. I'm not sure that they've said it clear. I haven't heard no one's told me. It's been secondhand, but I know it's from people who are honest. I know what they're saying is that you have to remember too, when you go to Ann Arbor, what do you see? I mean, if you haven't been there in a while, everywhere you go is a new building. The number one taxpayers, value-wise, assessment-wise, first is manufacturing. That's just it's across our state. Number two is housing. Apartments pay the very, very large tax assessments. So when you drive around and you see those multi-million, billion dollars, things, there's huge increases in the county-wide assessment. I did some calculations even before this Oracle and all this came out, and it's like their increases are like 12 and 14% a year. But what they've said, just to be clear on it, and that's where the fight's at, and that's where the townships all need to get together, because they're giving all that money to themselves and to where things that they want that are not the priorities of our community, of our residents, and frankly, not of the residents across the entire county. And it's taking care of pots when things don't work. Like right now, they got the cuts on all these stuff that they got from the state. I'm sorry, I wish those weren't there, but you can't take that out on our taxpayers. Our taxpayers are not unlimited resources that whenever the feds cut something or the state cuts something, well, we'll just go get another tax because our people always vote yes. No, we've got to draw the line in the sand, and they need to stop and figure out ways to do things. I mean, they're telling their unions over there the same thing. No raises, because we are going to use that increase, that assessment increase. They want that pot of money for the county commissioner to decide where these little special projects and things that they want to fund, but nothing that's over here. So it's time, I mean, to get organized. We need to have a slate of candidates across this entire county to combat and work against the Ann Arbor commissioners who are basically controlling the County Board of Commissioners. And they're the reason why it's the Ann Arbor commissioners, because they're the majority, that Justin and them are following and doing everything because they want to be well-liked or patted on. I don't know what their problem is. They're not representing us. I know that, and they don't care. And even, I didn't get to be at this meeting, because I had other stuff I do, but I listened to it, and that cackle that he made, like just laughing at the meeting, at our residents in the background, it's just like, I wanted to jump out of that thing and find him. But yeah, it's sad. We've got to join together with the rest of our townships and whoever, Dexter, that's Lonnie, right? Lonnie Scott, who used to be a township. Anyways, we have to join and get that, we've got to get that going. And whatever I can do, calling people up, being involved in that. I don't know, is there other townships we need to call on this resolution? Just send it to me. I'll call them. I mean, some of them I know from working with the county and through the elections and everything too. So I'm willing to do whatever we got to do, because this is wrong. This right here is wrong. It's just, this is a piece of it, but it's just a piece of everything else that's been going on.
It's a shift. They're shifting dollars from the general fund at the county to the taxpayers is what's happening.
And they're still in it. They stole basically our millage dollars. That deal that they sold us on, that we would all get that taken care of, so it'd be a nice little pot of change in our general fund to help pay for this, or for police services, and now it's gone? I mean,
Well,
48%.
And don't forget the non-contracting police, cities with their own
They're
police
still getting
departments.
theirs.
They get to keep all their money and do what they want with it. They're not affected by this. And there will be other
it's
townships.
townships. Yes.
There'll be other townships that are going to follow and support this as well, I think.
Yep.
And my understanding is they have to vote at the county level at the August 5th meeting in order to get it on the ballot. And it's just rushed. It's too rushed. And I do think the effects on residents will be, they're saying it's not a tax, it's a surcharge. Walks like a duck, quacks like a duck.
Brenda, there was a time when something like this, and I don't know when it changed. I don't know with the new administrator what happened over there, but there was a time when anything like this come forward, they would come to your community. They would have slides because they were proud of it and they could show that it was needed and talk to you. It's like now you just...
It's rushed is what it is. It seems to be very rushed. And to our residents who told us that Ann Arbor is going to give money to 48197 and 48198 to build a homeless shelter because the Delana Center is causing them issues? Really? I'll have to listen to that. That is, I didn't think you could give taxpayers money from one community to another community, number one, but...
That's a whole nother issue, but that is not a simple solution like that.
No, it's
not. I
not.
mean, even if we built that, that's not the answer.
Right.
I mean, the new homeless that you have now, young mom, that things with the whole housing crisis is totally different than the homeless issue that happened with the closing of the state hospital, which is affecting every place across the entire nation because there was a policy and a head shift about how do you take care of people who can't take care of themselves. Do you throw them out there because you think, oh, they have a right to make their decisions, or do you actually care about their lives and their livelihood and their health care? Because they're not getting it out on the street.
Right. So, lots of issues.
Bigger issue.
Any other questions or comments? Mr. Winter?
I know I should be speaking right now, but just Karen's comments also, again, trigger thoughts in regards to this issue about the data centers. And even today, I meant to mention earlier that Marisha also brought to my attention there is a place in Cheyenne, Wyoming, where the Board of Public Utilities, which is their version of YCUA, they had stopped a contractor working on behalf of Facebook from constructing a data center because some bacteria that is somewhat organic to the soil and water had somehow entered into the wastewater treatment facility out there. And so, again, right now, as we've said on so many occasions, and I think when you live long enough to see, all of us are saying the same thing, I think we've been somewhat used to having the Ann Arbor commissioners be who they are. So when people tell you who they are, you believe them. What we haven't been used to seeing for a long time is having people that are supposed to be representing us going along with that. And when the day comes and I have to, I didn't say anything the night of the public meeting when Justin made his comments from the audience in kind of a heckling fashion. And I just thought to myself, when we have attended Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners meetings, we may not have agreed with what was going on there. I don't recall anybody, myself included, heckling or just calling out in a very, very kind of condescending fashion. And what I'm trying to explain as best I can is that what you're seeing here right now with this, there is a growing gap between the east and west part of Washtenaw County. It remains divided by race and place. And whether it's going to be with the 911 surcharge, whether it's going to be with the millage right now. And I was over there in Ann Arbor today, and quite frankly, it's almost impossible to get around Ann Arbor right now because there's so much construction going on, and I've never seen so many buildings in my life that are being built over there. And so when the professor from U of M says, we really wanted to build this data center in Ann Arbor, we didn't have the electricity, we didn't have the water, we didn't have the power. It's just total nonsense because they're building 6, 8, 10-story buildings all over the place. I'm not sure how they're actually getting them into that tiny footprint. But the point is right now is that we're going to see such a growing disparity of income gap in this county and the treatment where it's going to get worse. And I don't know where you plant your flag down. The data center to me is a make or break moment for the township because it's going to determine not only the immediate impact, it's going to determine what happens in 5 years, 10 years, and 20 years because it's going to go beyond that. And the very fact right now that you're asking for a surcharge on 911 when you have the U of M Los Alamos saying, and speaking of 911, this was around 9/11. We had last year, we had the conversation about them paying a police and fire millage, and they almost literally laughed in our face by saying, we don't pay any taxes, be it police, be it fire, be it anything. But if you want, I guess something like Jeff Irwin has suggested, Senator, that we want a boardwalk around a place to walk around, you might do something like that. So it goes on and on, but I'm just saying from my perspective of being over here since 1984 and watching my father when he was a county commissioner years ago and watching other people that have followed over there right now, the biggest difference I've seen right now is that you don't have people representing the city's interests, the township's interests, Eastern Washtenaw County's interests. And it is divided by Carpenter Road. And I think that this is another example of what Stan is doing this evening, is trying to kind of recalibrate that equation because right now it's like a steamroller. Don't mean to go off on something totally unrelated, but it is all related together.
It's all connected, and there is a master plan update that we're doing, which we're required to do every 5 years. So that process will start. And I think in 2020 that was probably the first one I was not involved with in 2020. They had a committee. But I think at that time, because the auto industry, had closed and greatly affected Ypsilanti Township and the city of Ypsilanti, that they were looking at doing something different so you could have like a diverse economic base. But there's no way I knew that data centers they knew, I mean, people knew in 2020 in the state of Michigan, and this is a well-orchestrated plan to harm people who have land, which are townships. And that's where they're going to go, is to the townships. And Celine is, if you go by there, it's so unnatural to see that much building and the amount of cement it's going to take up the earth. It's mind-boggling. And for them to give them a tax base abatement, and then the county is given tax abatements for apartments in Ann Arbor, for the city of Ann Arbor, and there's 2 of them, large tax abatements. So I think raising taxes should be the last solution, not the first. And I appreciate this coming forward, and we just have to keep pushing together and make it known, and we won't give up. So stay tuned on the master plan, and that'll be a public process, so we can try to address the insufficient or the opportunities for data centers to come here, and change our ordinance to make them stronger and more enforceable, along with YCUA, with the studies they are doing as well, and just protect our community and our people to the best of our ability. And we will do that. A motion to adjourn? Pardon me? Oh, did we not vote? No. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion Eldridge?
Support.
Support Thornton. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 8:31. Thank you.